Game 2, I played Eric Bu. He's like 2100. This was the Najdorf. There were 2 games on Saturday. I won 2 games. And then next Saturday are the next 2 games. So we played 2 on each weekend. Okay, so I was told before the game started that he would be playing a Bishop G5 Najdorf, and I was pretty happy because that's the one I actually know the most against, but I still don't know very much theory. Okay, so this is not something we need to look at. Okay, here. So e6 is what I've always played, but here I was having a hard time deciding if I should play the new stuff I'm looking at or if I should just stick with the delayed poison pawn, which gives me good results. I don't think I've ever lost over the board with that. No, I lost once to this like master in Oklahoma, I think. But other than that, I've never lost, so I decided to just go with it. And I don't know, I think that was kind of a lame choice. I think I should have played the new stuff and just been a little bit more brave, but okay. I play h6 and queen b6. And apparently against Will Wolf, he played knight b3, which is just really bad. I call this the Brian Roundtree variation, because like this person, Brian Roundtree, played that against me. And I was just like, what? You can't do that. But people do it sometimes. It's just, what are you doing? I mean, that's just a blunder in the opening. But he made a slight improvement over that, and he played a3. H Dennis, okay. And so I know theory when they play here, but I don't really know anyone they play here because people don't play that as much, and I haven't looked at it in years. So what happened was he's playing exactly how I play with white. So I don't know theory for black, but I know a little bit for white. And so I was trying to think of the most annoying thing to face if I were white. But I couldn't remember what the best way to play. Like, I don't know. They never really phrase it that way in opening jokes. It's like, okay, if black plays the best way, then, they like to frame it in a more positive way that makes you feel like you're winning or you're better everywhere. Okay, so I play bishop e7 because it's the most obvious move on the board. Castles. And now I'm like, I spent 20 minutes here because I know that I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna push his H and G pawns, and I'm so scared because I don't know how to defend against it because I only looked at the quick starter for white. I do still do aim chess. I at least do my daily workouts on there. So here's what I remembered. I remember the moves I was considering if I were just playing chess and I weren't like in a theory state of mind where I have to remember theory. If I'm just trying to play chess, to me it would make sense to maybe take on d4 and play like this. But I vaguely remembered that they take with the rook here sometimes when that happens. And I don't remember the eval being great for black. So I kind of metagamed that and discounted this move, even though maybe it's what I'm supposed to play, I don't know. And finally, after a lot of thought, I decided to just play bishop d7. And, this can't be a really bad move, I don't think, because it's at least preparing some stuff. And it's getting rid of any threats like this. If I ever want to play b5, it's sort of preparing b5, sort of. But I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's really scary because I knew this was coming, and I just there's no way to stop it. So now I don't really know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I think knight takes d4 is probably the move, and they take with the rook, I assume, and then I play bishop c6 is I guess what I do. What are these arrows I made? I don't understand what these arrows mean. But I just remembered this, but I didn't remember what was said about this position. So I was scared. I mean, I shouldn't metagame chess. That's just stupid. But I was afraid that, this was just like going over something stupid black could do. What you do. Oh, okay. But, so, I don't know. I just played rook c8. I don't know. It's a Najdorf-ish move, I guess. And now h4. And now I take on d4. Okay? So I did do it eventually, but I think it might be a little bit worse to do it here when my rook is on c8, because when he takes with the rook, I don't know. I mean, maybe Josh can help explain some of this stuff, but this is what happened. And I came up with a little defense here that was not so good. Apparently the move is d5 here, or it's, you know, the best move. Which, you know, makes sense because, okay, knight can't take because of this. It's just confusing because it says equal here, and it says best move is knight takes d5, but then when you play knight takes d5, it says white's +1, so I don't really get it. I thought this wasn't so good because of this, but I guess they play here. What? What is going on? Okay, queen d7, of course, but queen c3. I don't know, this is all fucked up looking. Takes rook g1, bishop f6. I don't know. I can't claim to understand a lot of this stuff. But I came up with my own stupid defense to the threat of g5. And if I had known his response, I would have played it without much thought at all. Like, he made my move look good. I play h5 because, you know, I want to do this and, like, you know, not allow g6. So he pushes, and I put my knight on a pretty looking square, although the knight is trapped as of right now. Like, it can't really move. So yeah, I thought he was gonna play like rook c4 or something, and I don't know where I put my queen. And then he has this move, so I don't get to take the bishop. But I guess he didn't see that, because he played that move. And that's a good sign. That's a very good sign when your opponent retreats like that. So now I'm like slightly better. So he made my whole plan look good when it was not. It looked scary enough that it made him make a mistake. Because he just doesn't want to give up his bishops. So, which is, you know, understandable. Okay, so now I play queen a5, and problem with this is what? I'm not sure. I had a better move, apparently. The other moves I considered were b5 and castle, but I liked this because it was exerting pressure on the knight and possibly preparing d5, bishop a3. I just thought it was cool, but okay, b5 it says is best. I'm ever so slightly better there. Once again, he made my move look good with his response. He just keeps believing me. That's actually the theme of this game. My opponent just kept overestimating me, I think, or just giving me too much respect where I hadn't earned it really. So he's just sort of believing that I have something. Now, I make the best move on the board. And this is my second idea of queen a5. And at first this looks good, right? He can't take because of this. And now my bishops are active. But now, oh yeah, I forgot to say. Another reason I like queen a5 is because it's sort of stopping any pawn pushes too. But, oops. But now, what the hell is going on? But now he can play this move, because my queen is blocked. And I'm gonna die. My king is just dead. Yeah, this is terrible. So like what I should do when he takes is e5, apparently. And you know, I'm losing, but it's not an immediate loss. But once again, he just sort of believed me. And now I'm better. So like my ideas shouldn't work, but they keep working. So now I get to take and play bishop c6, and I've activated one of my pieces that sucked. And then he puts his queen on e1, which I didn't understand at all. I just didn't get it. And then, so I just castle, and I can maybe play g6 at some point. And if he ever tries to play g6, it'll open up my bishop, so, I mean, maybe not right away, but that is the point. He is giving me a square, so that's why he's not doing that. How much he spent a while. We spent about the same amount of time on every move. Like, we always had the same amount of time, which was interesting. But, okay, I castle, and then he, like, shows what his plan is. And his plan is bad. It's a little kid plan, as I like to call it. Sort of like that Nathan game I played. I don't really get it. So here, I came up with a silly little idea. Always retreat. This is true. Came up with a silly little idea of this move, which I think I have a better move. Like I have okay, queen c7, same idea, that this is not easy to defend. But the difference here is I have this move here. When here he has this move trapping my queen. Is it trapped? It looks trapped. It looks trapped to me. I don't understand why it says equal here. Oh, knight f2? What the fuck? This is so fucked up. This is equal. I thought I would be losing if I did this. Okay, so I'm threatening this, I'm threatening this, I'm threatening this, threatening this. Take queen, take knight, take bishop, take bishop, take bishop. Equal. I like black here though. I have a bishop. Wow. I did not see knight f2. Okay. But that's why queen c7 is good, because then it actually becomes a threat. I just didn't think it was... I thought... I don't know. That's pretty cool. So I should be close to winning here if I play that, but I didn't see that little thing. I only really considered attacking the pawn this way. So that's what I did. And okay, this is the only way to defend it. And then I go here. He goes here. And then I went back. And I thought this was cool. Because what I've done is now there's no rook defending on the third rank. And that was my point. I could have just won a pawn, which I didn't realize. But this was my point, was to remove a guard, sort of. This game is this was a fun game. So, okay. That is my idea. He's going along with his little plan of taking this important pawn. And, I think for a while here, and I decide to take on a3. And this looks like it might lose at first, right? For me. Because after takes here, what do? Because if I take, I think I go there. Oh yeah, check, and then here. And this is resignable. And same thing happens if here, except with the queen. And I lose. But fun part is I have bishop e8 here, which I saw before I took on a3. And he looked surprised. It's like, now my rook is defended, and I'm up a pawn. So bishop a3 just wins a pawn. So I thought it was pretty good. So take, and this is pretty equal. It's very hard for me. I'm up a pawn, but it's hard for me to do anything. He puts his bishop in the middle of the board, just controlling everything. I thought that was very good. And I went here just to completely discourage... well, what I'm trying to do now, my main goal is to make my knight a piece again, and not just like a pretty decoration. I want it to be able to do something. And step one to that is, you know, making this pawn not hang. So he can't take twice. He plays this move, and I play queen c6. Threat is here. We both have like 5 minutes here, but we have an increment. He plays king b2. He seems to be making a lot of moves that don't make sense to me. Because now I thought I had a pretty good... I thought this was a great move I made. Because now I'm forcing him to make a choice. He either has to trade the light squared bishop off, or he has to do what he did and just play bishop d1, which is an ugly move to have to make. I play bishop c4, and I can either do this, or I can push the b pawn, or I can put, you know... I'm just trying to slowly improve the pieces, and my main goal, again, I just want to make this a piece that I can move. So I feel okay here, but then he plays this move. He plays queen c3. I'm like, oh fuck, what is happening? How do I defend my pawn? And I start freaking out because it looks like I'm like afraid I'm gonna lose now. Because that pawn is undefendable, and I definitely can't push it because that just loses. So I have like 6 minutes here, and I thought for 2 minutes, and I came up with a pretty great defense actually. It's not that great actually because it's just obvious and the only way to do it. So it's I mean, I don't know why I'm so excited about it, but so I can play e5 right away, but I liked giving check first and pushing his king to this stupid square, and now playing e5. And now bishop e6 and the pawn is blockaded and the knight is reinforced. And I'll be able to fix my pawn structure. The e-pawn is a target. All of his pawns are targets, really. At least all of these ones. And I can afford to lose a pawn because I was up a pawn. So this is equal still. But it's a lot easier for me to play than it is for him. I have plans. He doesn't. So he puts his king on d2, and I immediately blunder. To be fair, I have like 4 minutes. And I realized it right after I played it that it was ridiculous. So I played queen d5, threatening knight e5, but he just has this move. And now I'm like, still equal, but now he has a slight edge instead of me. And as soon as I let go, once again, I had to act really calm, and I just kind of hit the clock and just kind of sat there, and then... But he played this move. He just keeps believing everything I say. So I was extremely happy to see that. He was just afraid of that. So that's good. now my queen comes here, and he has to worry about his h-pawn. Okay, starting to make progress. I played g6, solidify my pawn structure, and free up my knight. If I can get my knight out, I'm definitely going to be better, and I might even win. So he can't allow that. I play queen d5, asking the bishop a question. Are you going to give me this diagonal and free up some squares for my knight? And he said, sure, why not? And now his bishop is not good anymore. I'm not sure what it's doing on this square. It's no longer like the annoyance it once was. So now I play queen e4, and this is the enormous threat, getting the knight out. So bishop g4 is actually forced, I think. Bishop g4, or I think Daniel saw queen d3 is probably better. Queen d3 is good. Yeah. We looked at this for a while, but it's still going to be really difficult for him. But what he did was just awful. I think he realized that taking is giving me a passed pawn and looking very grim for him, and he didn't see an alternative. So he just sort of accepted that the knight is coming to e3, and he played king b2. And now I am completely winning. I get to move my knight out. And now I'm no longer down a piece. So, okay, I get a tempo on the bishop. He defends it in this way. But now I have sort of a very forced win from this position. Play queen d4 check. And I thought for like a minute or two here, and I decided like until the end what I was going to play. So I'm pretty happy with how I ended the game. So queen d4 check, king c1, queen a1 check, king d2 only move, knight c4, take pawn. And, this is pretty forced. And now here, he plays this. Hard for him to find a move that's legal. So, what would chat play here? I love how I finished this game. He resigned in 3 moves. Or 2 moves. No, 3. 2.5. So I'll let chat think for a minute here. And you decide which win. There's multiple wins, obviously. So you probably won't find a wrong answer. But I just like what I did here. b5 is what someone's saying. I like b5. I did not play b5. b5 is totally fine. Bishop c4 is obviously the first move to consider. But it's just like a trade. We have better. Queen d6, someone says. Bishop c4 check. All right, let's look at bishop c4 check, because I know people are going to be asking about it. So king takes c4, queen takes e2, and I don't know, one of these squares. And, he's dead lost here, but it's not as forceful as I'd like it to be. Now I just have to like slowly pick off the pawns and try and trade the queens. So that's winning. That is a win. But what I found here was bishop f5 check, king d2, queen a5. And the king can't go to e3 because of this check picking up the queen. The king only has these 2 squares. And the answer is the same no matter what square he goes to. He goes to d1, and I play queen c3, and he resigns. And the point is queen a1 is a threat, and I'm threatening to checkmate him with bishop c2. So I thought that was a very smooth way to end the game. Just completely cut off all hope. So yeah, pretty cool. I like that game because, sure, I made a lot of mistakes, but it was very complicated, and, I feel like anytime he made a mistake, I took advantage of it. And as soon as I was able to get the advantage, I didn't let go of it for a second. So that was that game. This man was like 100 points higher rated than me, so that felt pretty good. I had never played him before either. This was my first game with him.